Hello, everybody. I know I said I was going to be live. Well, you know what? If YouTube knew how to make anything easy to understand, I'd probably be able to do it. But since I don't know what half of this shit is, and I don't know how to get started, we're going to do this one the old-fashioned way. I'll do the next one live. How's that? I got to talk to a buddy of mine who's a big tech guy. In fact, I hope to have him on here at some point. And hopefully he can explain what some of that stuff is, maybe help me out a little bit. I got another guy who knows a little bit. Okay. So I'm sure they know who they are when I mention them. One knows a little bit less than the other, mostly because one of them basically teaches it. You know who I'm talking about. Not to say that either of them can't help me. I'm going to ask for both of them to help me out here. But less about my shit, more about this. This episode of the Lewis Sabin Video Podcast is always brought to you with huge thanks to one man and one interesting beverage company. The one man would be Mr. Joe Rogan and the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. He is, of course, available on YouTube. You can get certain episodes of his on here. I've listened to him a couple times through my Xbox because, well, those speakers are louder on my TV than here. And, of course, I listen to him also on iTunes. He's also available on what's known as Ustream. I've never used his Ustream. However, I do listen to him quite a bit on iTunes. Of course, as I mentioned already, we are also brought to you by huge thanks to the only beverage company I have used on here so far. That, of course, is Zions and their lovely, lovely energy drink. I am today drinking Frostberry Blast. I bought it at Meijer. They carry it. It has no crash, no jitters, sugar-free, 0 calories. It does not taste like garbage. It is delicious. Don't know what else to say about it except it's fantastic. Before I crack this baby open, I'd like to say one quick thing, and that is that I normally don't do this, but I feel it's necessary. I would like to give a little shout out to a friend of mine, Mr. Daniel Specker. He, of course, is leaving today for Guam. He is in the Navy, and they're sending him to basically a giant shithole. Best of luck to you, buddy. Please, please, please don't do anything stupid. Please, please, please don't hurt yourself. I'd like you to come back in one piece. And if you don't, I might cry a lot. Because I will seriously, seriously miss you. It's going to be a long time until I see you again. But as you said, this is not goodbye. It's just until I see you again. Now let's crack this baby open. Okay. Start things off. As I said with the JRE, his most recent episode is with a woman named Jane McGonigal. She is a game designer and author. Thank God she's not a professor, because wouldn't you want to have her? Just because that way you can say I have Professor McGonigal. All the nerds out there got that joke. And of course, right about now is the prime time to be ready for football. You got college going on. They're going into week 3. You got the NFL going into week 2 this week. And with that, we have a lot of people like myself who play fantasy football. And, of course, with any kind of fantasy team, there are highs and lows. And today I'd like to say one thing about my fantasy team. I'm currently searching for a murderer because someone murdered my fantasy team and turned them into liquid shit. Yes, that's right. Just like in the episode of Breaking Bad, someone ran a theoretical razor across my team's theoretical vocal cords and had him bleed out and then threw him into a giant bin of acid. I had the right players, but dumbass me didn't start them. For instance, I have Teddy Bridgewater and Cam Newton. I, of course, looked at the roster. I said, Cam has no receivers. Fuck you, I'm going to start Teddy. Which is probably how it's going to go for most of the season. I keep Cam on my bench for several reasons. 1, you can't use him against me if I have him. And 2, what if something happens to Teddy? Now I got a pretty good backup. My running backs didn't do a damn thing. I have Adrian Peterson and Alfred Morris. I, of course, got Alfred Morris because originally Jay Gruden, their head coach, said, we're not going to try and throw the ball anymore. We're going to try and run it. And I went, fuck yeah, I'll grab Alfred Morris. They're going to run the ball. What did they do? Threw it. My receivers at the time were Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, I gotta think, who else did I grab? I also got, what's his name? Plays for Green Bay. Percy Harvin. And at tight end, I decided to go out on a limb and went, well, let's see. What did Jimmy Graham do with these lovely, not the Giants, dumbass, with the Saints? He caught the ball all the fucking time. Now, what's he probably going to do when he's with the Seahawks then? Catch the ball all the fucking time. Wrong. Who did I start? Do you think I started Jimmy Graham for week 1 to try and smoke the fuck out of the team I was playing? Did that happen? No. I then, of course, had a lovely debate with myself. I have the Bills' defense. I'll get to that joke in a second. And Denver's defense. I looked at the matchup. The Colts were playing the Bills. Denver was playing the Ravens. I sat there and I wondered to myself, okay, well, let's look at this. You got the Colts. They got Andre Johnson, T.Y. Hilton, Frank Gore, and Andrew Luck. Don't know how their offensive line is, but just based on that, it's probably going to be a tough game on that defense. I'm going to go ahead and go with Denver just because it's the Ravens, and I know that their secondary is was a little bit better than the Bills. Also, defensive line and linebackers. So, I started Denver. Allow me to explain. The Bills basically shut down the Colts, and Denver couldn't score a touchdown, and they did get a couple turnovers, but didn't play as well as the Bills. To make fun of myself even more, at tight end, I said I had Jimmy Graham. I also, because I'm me, grabbed Tyler Eifert, my boy out of Notre Dame, plays for Cincinnati. I also got Kyle Rudolph because my thought was, oh, well, if one of you guys has a bye week, I already have Adrian Peterson and Teddy Bridgewater. I might as well put one of his actual receivers on my fucking team. Tyler Eifert is my second guy. Rudolph, no offense to Kyle Rudolph, love him, but it's one of those where I was like, I got him because it was like, all right, in case somebody gets hurt. Last year I got Eifert and he tore his ACL. So it was like, safety. I need to get one more guy just because. Yeah, so I started Jimmy Graham. Cap Eifert on my bench. Jimmy Graham didn't do jack shit. Eifert had a career day. Started my kicker. He got me a whopping 5 points, which is normal. Kickers are mostly useless in fantasy football. In actual football, very important. But in fantasy, not so much. So as you see, my team went from, I'm going to whoop everybody's asses, to, oh, shit. So, that reminds me. I meant to mention this. So, Percy Harvin. I had him sitting there. I also have Sammy Watkins. They're both on the same team, the Bills. I sat there and I wondered, okay, Percy Harvin. I like having him. I use him as my flex. That's a return guy and receiver, for those who don't know. I'm not real sure who I want to use here. Do I want to use him as my flex? Do I want to put him as a receiver? Do I even keep him? Let's think about this. Play for the Seahawks. Injured a lot. Was with Minnesota. Injured a lot. Was with the Jets. Injured a lot. I'm seeing a pattern. So, I had a light bulb. For those who don't know. Oh shit, I didn't tell you that part either. Devontae Adams is the other name I was trying to come up with. Isn't it a bitch to have ADD? So I told you I have Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson is out for the entire year with a torn ACL. I thought I was going to rape because I have Jordy fucking Nelson and Randall Cobb. Guess what? When Jordy Nelson isn't on the field, guess who everybody covers? Cobb. So they went and got James Jones. Green Bay did. They got James Jones, an old receiver they used to have, really good. And I went, I got James Jones. He's probably going to be in Jordy's spot. I should probably be smart and grab him. So I quick looked at the waiver wire. He's not on the waiver wire. I quick checked everybody's team. Thank God he's not on anybody's team. But I couldn't find him in free agency. It was actually kind of frustrating. Finally, I find him. fuck yes, I need to add him. I thought, because the way ESPN is laid out, I had a free spot. Wrong. I had to get rid of somebody. So I pondered this moment, not to be confused with the quarterback who sucks and Christian Ponder. Actually, he had an okay year a couple years ago, so I don't know. But anyway, not to distract you even further than me talking with my lovely ADD, I looked at my roster and I said, yeah, I'll get rid of Percy Harvin. He's injured a lot. Not that I don't want him. He's injured a lot. I got Sammy Watkins. I'll get Jacoby Jones. Why do I keep thinking that? I'll get now I can't come up with his name, damn it. James Jones. I'll get James Jones. I'll place him in there. That goes through. I get James Jones. I sit here for a minute, night before. I don't tinker. I just like to look. I'm looking at it and I go, James Jones is on my bench. I got Cobb starting. Got Devontae Adams in there too. Huh. I also have in there, let me think of his name real quick. From Oakland. Not Amari Cooper, the other one. Michael Crabtree. I said, Michael Crabtree is really one of the only two receivers on that entire team. I'll probably throw the ball to him quite a bit. But will they throw the ball to Jones? Probably not. So I kept him on my bench. There's a reason I'm smiling, and it's not a good one. Who'd they throw to the entire game? I can answer that question for you non-sports people. James Jones. I got screwed. So I've reordered my shit. Hopefully this will go through and end up working a little bit better next time. So of course I said I would cover football. That is just fantasy sports. Aha, now we get to the real shit. DCW. I can't say that. I don't want to get pulled. College football polls. Speaking of polls. I said polls, but same kind of idea. Number 1 is still Ohio State. Number 2 is Bama. Number 3 is TCU. Number 4 is a shocker in Michigan State. This is the new poll. I thought I'd get that out there real quick. 5 is Baylor. 6 is University of Southern Cal. 7 is Georgia. 8 is Notre Dame. 9 is Florida State, the Criminals. 10 is UCLA. 11 is Clemson. 12 is Oregon. 13 is LSU. 14 is Georgia Tech. 15 is Ole Miss. 16 is Oklahoma. 17 is Texas A&M. 18th is Auburn. 19th is Brigham Young. 20th is Arizona. 21st is Utah. 22nd is Missouri. 23rd is Northwestern. 24 is Wisconsin. And rounding out the top 25 at 25, Oklahoma State. Allow me to quickly cover this. And I'll try to be quick. So OSU played Hawaii. They won. Anybody shocked at that? Bama played probably some community college as they do until like week 9 when they play one good team and then they're done for the year. Texas Christian, I don't think played. I almost said Mississippi State. MSU, see, big difference. MSU beat, of course, Oregon at home. Yeah, they were at home. Pretty good game. I didn't get to watch all of it. Defense looked all right. Offense looked spectacular. They made Oregon look slow, which is sad to say because Oregon's got one of the fastest offenses ever. So they beat, of course, them. Baylor is still in the top 5. Not too surprised. Don't think they played this weekend. I could be wrong. This past weekend. I don't get Baylor, so I don't get to watch them very often. When I do, I'm happy about it. I'll watch any football. I don't give a fuck who it is. Give me 2 community colleges going at it. I'll be happy. 6th is the University of Southern Cal. They play Saturday night? I think it's a Saturday night game. Number 7 is Georgia. They are always in the top 10. They have a strong running offense. They have a very big and powerful defense. They got a decent secondary. Not 100% certain on their quarterback, but they got Nick Chubb, one of my favorite players, because of his last name. But how often do you get to say that, Chubb, on national television? Every time he plays. So I enjoy that. Just because I think it's funny. because I'm childish. Of course, they're still in the top 10 doing fantastic. Now, this next team is, I always say, my team. It's the team that I'm very loyal to. And I have some very, 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 very sad news. Number 8, Notre Dame. We moved up in the rankings, one spot to 8th. No problem. Very tough game against Virginia Tech. Against Virginia. I want to say Virginia Tech. I don't know why. We played Virginia. Virginia battled hard. And it was a fantastic game. Nail biter right to the end. Notre Dame last weekend, 2 weekends ago now, lost their starting running back, Train Folsom. Tore his MCL. He's out for the year. Virginia, we lost another player. This one, our starting quarterback, Malik Zaire, he broke his ankle. He's done for the year. So it's gonna be hard times in the big old blue and gold. But next man up, he's a freshman. I believe he's a redshirt freshman. Not sure if he's a true freshman or not, but like I said, I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt freshman. He's got decent arm, good footwork. I'm going to go ahead and say he's a little bit faster than Malik Zaire. Malik Zaire is like a running back, but I think he's a smidge faster. And that's Deshaun Kaiser, who threw the game-winning pass to Will Fuller to win the game. So, I don't know. The number 9 Criminals, no one cares. It's FSU. Why are you ranked? Because of last year. Yeah, but who do you have from that team? Nobody. And you don't play anybody. Anyway, to FSU fans, I apologize. I'm still a bit sore over the whole penalty that isn't a penalty unless, of course, FSU is going to lose call. Yeah, I remember that. UCLA. I don't get to watch UCLA because, again, I'm on the East Coast. So, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So, if I want to watch your game, I have to first find the channel it's on, which it's normally not on any channel. And if it is, I got to be up at, like, midnight to watch it. I'm sorry. I have no vested interest in UCLA. It's not like University of Southern Cal, USC, where I think they're scum and I want them to get beat. So I'll watch them to get beat. Which, by the way, they play Stanford this week. So I get I'm just overall pissed about it because it's team I hate against team I hate. I don't give a fuck who wins. Just as long as one of them beats the other, which is what's going to happen. So, yay. That's the glory of being a Notre Dame fan. Who do you prefer, Michigan or Michigan State? Don't give a fuck, Notre Dame. We play both of you. Not anymore. They're trying to bring that back, which I'm okay with, to be honest with you. Number 11, Clemson. Clemson always has a very good team. Again, don't get to watch a lot of them either. Oregon, like I said, they lost last weekend. I'm not sure who they're playing this weekend. I will go over the schedule here in a minute. LSU. It's LSU. They got a strong running back in Leonard Fournette. You got a decent offensive line. Quarterback that I haven't been able to watch much, but always a tough team to play against. And that rounds out really who I'm willing to talk about. Other than that, 21 Utah, you got that kid Booker who's a freak athlete. Before I cover the schedule, Michigan is 1-1. They play UNLV next. And Rutgers has a player who is currently suspended. We'll cover that in a second. Big news otherwise, Michigan State Riley Bulla is Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. He had 14 tackles. 5 of those were solo tackles, 9 of those were assisted tackles, and 1 pass defended. Their next opponent is Air Force, who runs out of the triple option. I will cover that when I get to them. Okay, here we go. My pen will stop rolling away from me. Let me see, do I have that open anywhere? Yes, I do. All right, Thursday, September 17th. Number 11 Clemson plays at Louisville at 7:30. That's on ESPN. With any luck, I will try to cover that game. Friday, September 18th. You got the Criminals, Florida State, against Boston College at 8 p.m. That's on ESPN. Idaho at Boise State. That's on at 9. And New Mexico against Arizona State, which is on at 10. I'm going to stop covering the times. I think I did that last time, too, because technically it's not the same for all you guys. Saturday, September 19th. You got Savannah State against Akron. South Florida against Maryland. UNLV, University of Las... Shit. Now I forgot what it stands for. Anyway, UNLV. Michigan. They're at Michigan. Air Force at number 4, Michigan State. Kent State at Minnesota. Buffalo at Florida Atlantic. Nevada at number 17, Texas A&M. Illinois at North Carolina. Connecticut at number 22, Missouri. Wake Forest at Army. Tulsa at number 16, Oklahoma. Central Michigan at Syracuse. Number 23, Northwestern at Duke. Georgia State at number 12, Oregon. Southern Louisiana at Ohio. Rice at North Texas. Temple at UMass. University of Massachusetts. Ball State at Eastern Michigan. Memphis at Bowling Green. Louisiana Tech at Kansas State. Troy at number 24, Wisconsin. Northern Illinois at number 1, Ohio State. Cincinnati at Miami of Ohio. Eastern Carolina at Navy. Norfolk State at Marshall. Texas San Antonio at number 25, Oklahoma State. William and Mary at Virginia. Virginia Tech at Purdue. Number 14, Georgia Tech at number 8, Notre Dame. Nebraska at Miami of Florida. Number 18, Auburn at number 13, LSU. That's going to be a fantastic game. Northwestern State at Mississippi State. Austin Peay at Vanderbilt. Western Kentucky at Indiana. Walford at Idaho. Utah State and Washington. South Carolina at number 7, Georgia. The Citadel at Georgia Southern. Furman, at University of Central Florida. UCF. You see, because I'm an MMA fan, I always say it the other way. And then I go, shit, that's not it. Northern Carolina Central at Florida International. Charlotte at Mid-Tennessee. Southern Mississippi at Texas State. Murray State at Western Michigan. Missouri State at Arkansas State. Texas Tech at Arkansas. Western Carolina at Tennessee. North Carolina State at Old Dominion. Colorado at Colorado State. Florida at Kentucky. Cal at Texas. Rutgers at Penn State. UTEP at New Mexico State. Maine at Tulsa. Southern Alabama at San Diego State. Pittsburgh at Iowa. Stanford at number 6, University of Southern California. San Jose State at Oregon State. SMU at Texas Christian University, TCU. Iowa State at Toledo. Wyoming at Washington State. Number 15, Ole Miss at number 2, Alabama. That should be a good game also. Number 19, BYU at number 10, UCLA. Number 21, Utah at Fresno State. Northern Arizona at Arizona. They're number 20. UC Davis at Hawaii. Again, all of those games, I'm double checking something real quick, are on Saturday, September 19th. Now, quick little thing that I smiled at when I said it because I've thought this for several years. Am I the only one that thinks We've Got Big Balls should be the theme, their fight song for Ball State? I mean, come on. Does it ring? Doesn't it just roll off the tongue? I'm willing to see it. I would pay to see that. Okay. I earlier said that at Rutgers, there's a running back or a receiver. I'm not entirely... I wrote running back, and then they said receiver, and then somebody else said running back, and so I don't know what the fuck position he plays at. Was arrested. Leon... If I murder this guy's name, I apologize. Leonte Carew. He was arrested for allegedly an altercation on Saturday night and he is suspended indefinitely. Unclear as to whether or not he punched somebody. It just said altercation. It didn't say assault. It didn't say that he beat the crap out of somebody. It just said an altercation. I assume there was some type of assault in there. He was arrested for the altercation, and he, as I said, is currently suspended indefinitely. There is an investigation going on, and the university claims, and I quote, that they are not willing to give any further explanation. I'll cover that in a second. That's international news. Yeah. Oh, I got the back. Nope, I want to cover that. Okay. NFL. There you go. NFL schedule and NFL news. Okay, so Bush. Sorry. Reggie Bush strained his calf, I guess, in the Niners game. I didn't watch it. It was on too late. I love that you did a Monday doubleheader because one of the games started like at 7 o'clock here, which was nice. The problem is the next game was at like 10:45, and I'm not going to stay up that late to watch a game that really isn't that important. Especially when the way the Niners were kind of dominating Minnesota. It really wasn't worth it. It updated. No, go back. Sorry, it just jumped. I don't know why the hell it did that. It knows it's on. You're on our page. Fuck you. Oh, sorry. All that information I gave you about college football came from ESPN. I gotta make sure I give you. I don't want to get sued. That doesn't matter. Rex says he can't wait to play Hated Patriots. Doesn't matter. McCarthy says that the Packers are focused on beating the Hawks. It's not a revenge game. And Taylor Lewan of the Tennessee Titans hoped that there is, and I quote, "Oh God, please let there be no buzz about their current team." Can't say I blame him. I mean, they played spectacular. I'll cover that in a minute. Actually, fuck it. I'll cover it now. Marcus Smart. It was a game between Tennessee and Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't remember who was where. I believe the Bucks were away. Anyway, it was a great game, from my understanding. Again, didn't get to watch it. Thanks for the media coverage, guys. And Mariota played fantastic, while Tampa Bay struggled a little bit. I'm not that surprised. Tampa Bay's defense is not that great, and neither is their offensive line. Okay, for last week, I'm going to cover the scores of the games from last week, and then I'm going to go to week 2. I will inform you when I get to week 2. Happy? All right. You guys don't need to look up my predictions. I was wrong about pretty much everything. In the Thursday night game, September 10th, the Steelers were beat by the Patriots 21-28. On Sunday, September 13th, the Packers beat the Bears 31-23. The Chiefs beat the Texans 27-20. The Browns were beat by the Jets 31-10. The Colts were beat by the Bills 14-27. Sorry, 27-14. I'm looking at it backwards. The Dolphins beat the Redskins 17-10. The Panthers beat the Jaguars 20-9. The Seahawks were beat in overtime by the Rams 31-34. The Saints were beat by the Cardinals 19-31. The Lions lost a heartbreaker 33-28 against the Chargers. The Titans smoked the Buccaneers 42-14. The Bengals beat the Raiders 33-13. The Ravens were beat by the Broncos 19-13. The Giants were beat by the Cowboys by 1 point, 26-27. Of course, the Cowboys had 27, unfortunately. The Monday night doubleheader. A fantastic game, defensively, offensively, all the way around. The Eagles and the Falcons. The Falcons beat the Eagles 26-7, and the 49ers played the Vikings, and they were smoked. The Niners won 20-3. Alrighty. Let's go to week 2. this coming weekend. The next game is this Thursday, I believe, if it would load. Come on, page. I don't give a fly. Oh, God. Yep, okay. Is this Thursday, September 17th. It's the Broncos at the Chiefs. I'm leaning towards the Broncos D to be able to keep a steady hand on the Chiefs. However, if the Chiefs play like they did this past weekend, I got the Chiefs beating the Broncos. All right. Sunday, September 20th. Texans, Panthers. Panthers beat the Texans. Hands down. Niners play the Steelers. I think the Steelers beat the Niners. Bucks, Saints. Saints beat the Bucks. Lions, Vikings. Lions win. Cardinals, Bears. Cardinals win. Patriots, Bills. Bills win by 3. Chargers at Bengals. Bengals. Titans at Browns. I say the Titans beat the Browns. Falcons at the Giants. Falcons are going to probably rape the Giants just because of how that defense was playing. It was beautiful. Rams at the Redskins. Rams beat them. Dolphins at Jags. Dolphins. Ravens against the Raiders. With the Ravens. The Cowboys against the Eagles. You know, normally I'd go ahead and say probably, unfortunately, the Cowboys, but they are without Des Bryant. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a foot injury. He's going to have surgery on it coming up here, I think, today. So I say the Eagles beat the Cowboys because of speed. And then, of course, the Sunday night game at 8:30, the Seahawks and the Packers. Based on the Seahawks' offensive line, the way they played, and the lack of receiver, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Packers beat the Seahawks. And then it's the Jets and the Colts. And I'm going to lean towards the Colts for this one. They looked shaky in their debut, but I think they can pull it together against the Jets. Or at least I'm praying and hoping they do. Okay. Now, I'm going to, again, I have a couple of really big stories that I want to cover that are in the news. But first, I'm going to cover 2 movies that are interesting because let's save the sad stuff for last. First film, it was just the trailer was just recently released. It's called Hardcore. Not to be confused, of course, with George C. Scott's Hardcore, which was made here in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1979. Not very many people even know that movie exists. I own it. Good movie. The subject matter is a little sketch, but the point of the movie is pretty good. In the trailer, we see a good old friend from District 9. Yeah, remember the guy that spoiler, the guy that turns into the alien? He's in it. No longer spoiler. You can keep watching. For those who have their ears plugged, I'm done now. That's what I said. District 9 I felt was a very underrated movie. This film is breaking down the walls of every other action film that has ever been made. This film is based on something I find interesting and at the same time, I don't know. So, we all see from our point of view. Most movies shot with a camera aimed at the guy or the woman or whoever is the lead actor or actress. I'll just say actor for the fuck of it because it's easier. And, you know, they're following the lead actor, but you can see the back of their head, you can see the side of their head, etc. This film is going to be from their point of view. I believe it's supposed to be a male actor, which is very interesting, although at the same time it makes me nervous because there are certain things that are shown in the trailer. It's an action flick that I don't know how they're going to translate through. Yeah, I don't know. It might be good. From what I saw of the trailer, it looks intriguing. I'm going to have more information about what the movie's even about. At the moment, all I know is it's an action film that's depicted sometime in the future with point of view shot, POV shot. So, as to that, I'm not 100% sure. Another movie that I'm very interested in comes out, I believe it's this Friday, is Black Mass. Black Mass is a movie based on a true story following What's his actual name? I forget his name. Sorry, I can't come up with it now. I should have written it down. But it's the lead role is Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp does as strange as he is an amazing actor. So you got to give the guy credit. I think that the film is going to be fantastic. Of course, I've seen him in films where he's played a mobster, where he's played someone trying to infiltrate the mob in Donnie Brasco. So I'm hoping this stays up to par. It looks fantastic. Very, very interested in seeing this movie. Okay. Now, I said I was going to cover some big things in the news. Okay, so first of all, when I say news, I'm not talking about the Kardashians. Fuck them. That's not what I mean. I mean this crazy thing you kids know nothing about called real news. You know, like what's going on in Africa, what's going on in Europe, what's going on here. That doesn't involve celebrities because they're pointless and dumb, and I don't get why anybody ever drools over them. When it comes to news, they're not news. That's just garbage. This is real news that I'm going to be covering. So, a big, gigantic shitstorm is going on in California. And the reason I say shitstorm is because what I'll explain. So, they passed this bill. I was going to make sure I say it that way because it's not a law yet. It still has to be signed by the governor. Known as right to die. Right to die is defined as also known as rational suicide. It is defined as portraying to express or advocate the right to refuse extraordinary measures intended to prolonging someone's life when they are terminally ill or comatose. So, allow me to explain what that means. If you have an inoperable brain tumor at the base of your skull, and they tell you, you got 9 months to live, you're fucked. There's nothing we can do. We can give you this medication that's going to ease your pain, but other than that, there's absolutely nothing we can do. You better fill out your last will and testament because you're going to die. You can go, I don't want that. I'd rather die on my terms. Now, it can't be 9 months. I'll explain that in a second. But you can decide when you want to die. California currently has passed it. It's, like I said, on the desk of the governor. I'm unsure if he's signed it into law yet. I have a feeling he's not going to. But it's written this way. It's known as the End of Life Option Act. Patients with 6 months or less to live would have the option to end their lives authorized, and I can't stress this point enough for people who argue against me. It is only authorized by a doctor to administer a fatal dose of medication. It has been given to Governor Jerry Brown. He has 12 days to pass or veto the bill. Pass or veto the bill before it automatically goes into effect in January. So, let's discuss this real quick. Sadly, on my Facebook and my Twitter, I didn't get anybody really to talk about this with me. I guess it's that controversial that I would really rather not talk about it. Or because the parents are on here, and God forbid you have a different opinion than them. So, my personal opinion on the Right to Die Act, or in this case, what it's being called in California, the End of Life Option Act, I'm all for it. But that's because I don't think anyone should have to go through that pain and suffering. I find it ridiculous that it's that big of a deal. I mean, I 100% agree. If someone's depressed and they just don't like their life, then they shouldn't be able to just end it. There should be, obviously laws in place. But if you have an inoperable brain tumor or something that's going to kill you anyway, you should be able to go, you know what, I want to go out on my terms, fuck you. And I'm 100% fine with that. If something like that happened to me, that's exactly what I want you guys to do. If I was comatose, brain dead, not moving, and every time they attempted exterior stimuli by stabbing, basically what they do is they poke you with a needle or a pencil. I've seen them use pens before too. They tap you with a pen. And the idea is if you hit someone in the hand, your automatic reaction is to close your hand, move your hand, do something. With a needle, they'll poke you. And the idea is they'll do that at the ends of your fingers. They'll poke you in the end of the finger because, ow, that hurts, and you'll move your hand. If they go around and they're poking you, it's considered, It's an exterior stimulus to see what your body's reaction is. So, for instance, when the doctor uses that weird horned thing, I don't know what the fuck it's called, and they hit you in the knee and you go, fuck, that hurt, your knee jerks, that is a reaction from your brain telling your leg that that's supposed to move. If your brain is not sending the correct signals, and what I mean by correct signals is not that it's off juice. I mean that it's not working at all. I had an aunt that had this problem. She crashed her car, and she was essentially brain dead. There were machines keeping her alive, but she was dead. She was gone. And we had to live with the fact that there's nothing we could do. If so, they did the exterior stimulus, see if she would move. She didn't react to anything, so out went the lights. They decided to do that with, in this case, their bill is saying that you could do that if someone is comatose or has 6 months or less to live. Now let's talk about those who are opposed. Those who are opposed, of course, are the fucking Christians and the Catholics. Specifically the Catholics, actually. Opposed at the moment is the Catholic Church and most likely the governor because he is actually Catholic. So hopefully he vetoes it and it gets passed anyway. Or he can just save us a lot of grief and pass it anyway. The Catholic Church and the Christians' huge argument is, of course, thou shalt not kill. Well, also, the idea is that you're supposed to be on a path created by, again, I'm not saying these are my views, I'm saying this is how it's explained. For those who believe in something else, I don't know what everybody else says. The school I went to is mostly Christian, and so because we're bigots, we decided, bigots, dumbasses, we decided to spend very little time on any other religion besides Christianity, because God forbid you listen to somebody else's book and decide that that's better. Because we don't want you to make choices. We'd rather you just do this. I have a personal belief that all religions are pretty much the same when it's boiled down. So I think that we live instead of a monotheism, a polytheism, which is that there's multiple gods instead of just the one. That sounds ass backwards to people who don't believe that, but if you read about every single religion, you'll see that they all kind of have the same basic bones, which would indicate that there's multiple sets of the same thing. So it's either they're seeing the wrong thing, in the case of their messiahs, their gods, or it's the same main thought through multiple people. Monotheism. Or polytheism, I apologize. Monotheism is, of course, mono being singular, one God. See? Aha, I am educated. The church believes that, you should be able to take your own life. And they also, an argument that I've read about online is that, now of course it's online, so it's not necessarily 100% true, but I get their argument with this, is that, well, you just shouldn't be able to do that. Well, that's not a very good reason. Yeah, I shouldn't be able to buy $60,000 worth of chocolate, but I could do it if I had the money. I shouldn't be able to drink myself beyond inebriation and be able to get in a car and drive. But there's people with shitty judgment, and they do it anyway. In this case, of course, I'm not related to any of those. They're arguing that you shouldn't be able to end your own life because you might get people who are depressed, have mental illness, etc., who think that they want... Okay, the way I have to word this is to be very careful. Who want to end their lives, but have no terminal illness. Now, obviously, as I've just stated, that you actually have to have a doctor do this to you. It has to be done professionally. There has to be research done. So it can't just be, I don't like my life anymore, dead. No, there's going to be obvious laws and other types of legislation in force here, laws and things that are going to be used to make sure that it's not being used for the wrong purposes. I sound like I have a mouthful of marbles. Like I said, I'm a huge... I actually advocate this because there are people who they're not going to live, and they should be allowed to say, I don't want to live like this. In the case of the woman in Oregon who did end her life, I'm not sure if it's legal in Oregon. I think it is. I think it's illegal in Oregon already. But she had an inoperable tumor, I believe, or some type of disease that was causing her physical pain. And she said, I cannot live like this anymore. I'm in so much pain, and there's nothing anybody can do. And so she decided that she would have her friends and family around her. And she, in other words, killed herself. But through this form. My other argument to people who argue against this is, have you ever owned a pet? And I apologize if I cry here because I just had to do this not too long ago, as you saw in one of my episodes. It's okay to euthanize your pet, but it's not okay to euthanize humans. Why not? If there's something physically wrong and they're not getting any better and they're only going to be in more pain, it's quality of life over quantity. And you know what? You should be able to make that choice. Again, I'm stressing that only people who have terminal diseases should be able to do this. Anybody else, you should shut the fuck up and drink some coffee and have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. I, of course, am not brought to you by Coke or anything sponsored by them. I'm also not a paid spokesman. I hate that I have to say that because that way I don't get sued. I'm not a spokesman for anybody, actually. It's just me. If anybody has any opposing views, anything, I have a Facebook page up now. It's the Lewis Sabin Video Podcast Facebook. It's open to the public. Just shoot me a thing. Do not friend request me under my real name. Of course, my real name then is Lewis Sabin. Don't friend request me on there. If I don't know you, I'm not going to accept it. If you want to join my podcast page, feel free. Go for it. I will gladly listen to what you have to say. In fact, I might even get into a debate with you. I like to do that from time to time. Another piece of news. Sorry, that brought up emotions. The whole euthanizing your pet thing. Anyway. International news. I got this from... Oh, sorry. That last story was from MSN. BC. This next story is international news. I got it from Al Jazeera. I know a lot of people do the whole Al Jazeera's terrorist thing. No, it's not. It's an unedited news organization, and you know what? They're fantastic. Hungary declares state of emergency over refugee crisis. The government troops deployed at the border with Serbia to stem the flow of immigrants moving in and, kind of overflowing Western Europe. Western Europe. I almost said Eastern Europe, and then I thought about it for a second. I'm pretty sure it's the west side. Yeah. Sorry. Spain, France, those guys. Denmark. Eric. Denmark. Of course, the state of emergency gives authorities different abilities. In this case, they have the ability to shut down roads, limit work of public institutions, and speed up court processes for asylum seekers. So, obviously, there's a from what I've read of this, there is a legal process in which you can go through that will begin, basically, your right to asylum. So, you can come in, but you have to do it the legal way. Well, let me think here. I haven't actually gotten a legitimate number. Shitloads. We'll say that. There's shitloads of people. Good enough. I don't know the exact number, and I haven't heard an exact number. Probably because they don't actually know. People running away from ISIL or ISIS. They're fleeing Iraq and Turkey are the top two I'm hearing from. Serbia's another one. They're fleeing their homes and they're running away because they want nothing to do with them. don't blame them. So, of course, Hungary is taking action in this case, declaring a state of emergency. They're being overflowed with people. They're also, now again, this is an unconfirmed report that I read. They have, from Al Jazeera. I used to think I read that part on Al Jazeera. I don't remember. That there's a possibility that if this state of emergency and all that, if it all goes through the legal channels and works, they will have troops, dogs, and was it roadblocks? I think it's some type of roadblock stationed along the border to stop people from coming in. And it's not that they want to turn them away; it's that they have no choice. They can't take any more people. It's like the Titanic lifeboats. They can't put any more people in it, or it will capsize. It's really sad to see people that are fleeing their country. They're overflowing Greece as well, which is funny because the Turks and the Greeks hate each other. So the fact that they're running to Greece is semi-comical. What I mean by semi is the situation they're in is not funny. However, what's going on is funny because the Turks hate the Greeks and the Greeks hate the Turks. Last I heard, there's a possibility that some rich Egyptian, or I'm trying to think, was he Egyptian or not? I don't remember. Was contemplating buying some island and helping the refugees move to there. Now, I'm all for helping the refugees out. I'm all for trying to figure out where we can put them. Well, we as in the other nations, not we as in the United States. I don't know what we're doing, to be honest with you. Couldn't find anything on that either. I'm sure we're sending some form of aid. But the thing I don't like about what I've seen on the news about these refugees is how much they're trashing shit when they leave. I'm all for you need things and you need to get from point A to point B, which is wherever safety is to you. But you're trashing places that you're leaving. Not helpful. So maybe we can cut that the fuck out. Other than that, I'm all for helping them. If we can get as many innocent people out of those countries, maybe we'll actually help keep the flow of ISL. I'll say pledges, because there's people in other countries that are like, yeah, I want to do that, and I think you're nutty. Whatever your reason is, but I think you're a bit nuts. Mostly because they're beheading people, which doesn't sound like fun. But hopefully that'll cut down on their pledges, as I said, who want to go. Also, it'll stop them from just deciding that you are now with us, like the soldiers in Africa, where they take young boys and throw them into servitude because we can. I'm not sure if ISL does the same thing. I would assume they do something along those lines. I mean, isn't that how it always pretty much works? We'll kidnap you. Oh, by the way, welcome to our group. Oh, you don't agree with us? That sucks. Yeah, don't have much of a choice. That's pretty much it. If anything else really comes up, I might make a little snippet and throw it on my Facebook page. I may not upload it to YouTube. It depends on how long it is. I realized just recently I've been talking for about an hour now, which is pretty cool. I'll try to figure out the whole live streaming thing. It was kind of confusing. So, best of luck with that to me. I'm just double checking some of my stuff here. Covered that. Making sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, shit. Almost forgot. Nickelodeon is starting an independent channel to run only 90s kid shows, including, but not limited to, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Cat Dog, and Wild Thornberrys. The channel will be called Splat, otherwise known what every 90s child just did in their pants when they heard about this channel and the massive erection that we have. Because, fuck yes, finally. There were some good ass shows back in the day that aren't on anymore. Dinosaurs being one of them. Don't Mock Me. That show is fucking awesome. It's on Netflix. Watch it. It covers some real shit in that show. Again, another one of those things that's not around anymore because the genius that came up with it is no longer with us. That's, of course, Hansen. Jim Hansen. Is that his name? I think so. I haven't seen anything with him in it in forever, so I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. Not the guy that works for Dateline. I'm sure I'm murdering her name. Lena, I think is her first name. Hart is to announce for Bellator. To MMA fans who have been watching for a while, and to new MMA fans or new fans of just anything that deals with boxing, etc. Lena is amazing. She used to announce for what is no longer, unfortunately, around Pride. And she's just fantastic. I'm very happy that they've ended up getting her. Don't know if she's going to be the main person or if she's just being brought in. I haven't been able to read much on it. All I know is that they have hired her. Best of luck to her with working with Bellator. Bellator is actually, I never thought I'd say this, starting to kind of rival the UFC. Since the UFC is signed with Reebok, and the terrible, terrible plan they have with that. I'm sorry, Dana, but it just, I don't get it. You're losing fighters because they'd rather have their own sponsorship. Don't blame them. I know I would if I was a fighter. And they can get that when they move to Bellator. Also, in the case of some of the fighters who have left and gone to Bellator, it's because they were really good, but the competition in the UFC is just so steep that it was they couldn't do anything. For instance, Leonard Garcia, featherweight. I'm pretty sure he was a feather. Yeah, featherweight. Couldn't get anywhere. He was exciting, but he really didn't generate a lot of revenue for the UFC. He was cut. He went to ONE FC and became the champion. So see, he was a good fighter, just wasn't UFC caliber. That is everything. That is all that I have to say. As usual, this is made as a huge thanks to Joe Rogan and the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience podcast. You can listen to him on iTunes. You can watch him on Ustream, and you can watch him on YouTube. Also brought to you by a huge thanks to Zions, sugar-free, 0 calories, and just yummy deliciousness. You can get it at Myra. And BP. I found it at some BP stations. No luck at Speedway, which is too sad. Oh, and Marathon. Marathon carries it, or at least the last couple marathons I've gone to. I'm not sponsored by either of these companies. However, I am a huge fan. If they would like to sponsor me, that would be fantastic. This episode of, as always, as I also said at the beginning, or sorry, not as always, what I said at the beginning is a bit of a shout out to a friend of mine, Danny Specker. Best of luck to you in Guam. Keep in touch, bud. Thanks for watching. Bye. As soon as I find the off button.